Good afternoon, 104. So this is the second lecture here that will be posted for next week, May 11th. So this is the last week of class. There is no daily grade for this week. There are 3 lectures here. Hopefully you already listened to the one on 16th notes and are working on those pieces. This lecture is about the new 4 chord and some pieces to help you practice that. Both of these items are getting you ready for what will be on that last exam 3. So let's talk about a 4 chord. So I am on page 143 in your textbook. 2 weeks ago we learned the 5-7 chord and we talked about the history and why it was called a 5-7 chord, and basically it came down to just memorizing that when I played a 1 chord to go to that 5-7, my thumb stayed, 2 played, and the 5th finger dropped half a step. The same thing's going to hold true with our 4 chord. So a 4 chord, and I've drawn it on my little whiteboard here. Here's my 1 chord again. We're always going to work off of that 1 chord. That's always a good basis to go from. So if I'm going to find this 4 chord, so 4 chord is probably the 3rd most commonly used chord. But with this vocabulary now that you'll have of a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord, you'll be able to chord any melody that you want. So my 4 chord, again, the 4 is because the root of it is F, or the 4th note in that hand position. We're going to put it in an inversion though again. So remember, inversion meant that we're switching around the order of the notes. So it's not actually going to look like F is on the bottom. But if you're asked to play a 4 chord, again, simply memorize how you're getting there from the 1. That's the easiest thing to do. And to go from a 1 to a 4 chord is actually going from the bottom of the hand this time instead of the top. So to get to my 4 chord, the bottom note is going to stay the same. The middle note is that 4th note of your hand position. So with a lot of you, I was recommending that you write your hand position up above the key that you're working in. So you can see that that middle note is that 4th one. You might recall that's the exact same note that is the middle of your 5-7 chord. The trickiest one to remember for the 4 chord is the top. That top note can be found by your thumb going up a whole step, and make sure that you watch that it's a whole step, because it might be a black key, it might be a white key. So let's take your left hand. Remember, our chords are only needing to be done with our left hand for our purposes in this class. So I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to put it in C. I'm going to find my 5-finger position, tonic, whole, whole, half, whole. I'm going to play my 1 chord, which is bottom, middle, top. To get to my 4 chord, bottom stays, finger 2 plays on the note it was in the 5-finger position, and my thumb goes up a whole step. There's my 4 chord. So even though this is not an assignment, I would suggest that you take your left hand just like you did with your assignment on page 109. Go up the white keys, find a D pattern, find your 1 chord. Now to find your new 4 chord, go from the bottom. Bottom stays, finger 2 plays, thumb up a whole step. There's your 4 chord. Go back to 1. See if you can find it in E. 1 chord. To find my 4, bottom stays, 2 plays, thumb up a whole step. So watch there, that is going to take you up to a C sharp. Now once you have those 4s confident, go back to 1. Do you remember how to find your 5-7? 5-7, I went from the top. Thumb stays, 2 plays, 5th finger down half a step. So a good preparation to get ready for your final would be to try to put your hand and find both of those chords. If I did it in F, tonic, whole, whole, half, whole. 1. Let's find that new 4 chord first. Stay, play, up a whole step. Back to 1. Can I find my 5-7 chord? Stay, play, down a half step. There's all 3 chords that you would use in the key of F. So practice going through the white keys and see if you can find this new 4 chord, but also don't forget about that 5-7 chord we did 2 weeks ago, because the piece English Folk Song is on exam 3. That is going to be one of these lead sheet styles where you need to add the chords in, and it's going to ask for both 4s and 5s. So to practice the 4 chord, one hand, just your left hand doing the pattern, then move to your book and you've got several songs that are familiar that have 4 chords in there. So this is a great way for you to practice when the Saints go marching in. There you can see is that 4 chord right there for you. Knowing our chord language helps your reading ability, because when I'm learning when the Saints go marching in, instead of reading those individual notes in the left hand, I'm just looking at the structure and going, well, there's my 1 because it stacks up in thirds. Here's my 5-7 because I knew it had neighbors on the top. So now instead of reading C, F, A, C, F, A, C, E, G, I can read faster by recognizing the chord shape of 4, 4, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, 7, 5, 7, and then putting the melody above it. I encourage you as well to look at Lavender's Blue on 144. Now we just put our chords in the key of F, but again, read the chord structure versus letter names to help you. Jimmy Rose Went to Town is another familiar one in the key of G. So particular in 143, 144, those 3 familiar melodies will be a fun way for you to try these new 4 chords. After you've mastered that 4 chord, then you're going to be ready to look at the next video, which is talking about English Folk Song. English Folk Song is the lead sheet that will be on exam 3. It will be on exam 3 for everyone. It will be a plain part of your exam if you are doing the keyboard option. If you are doing the written option, this piece will be on your written exam and you'll be writing those chords in. So please spend some time practicing these 4 chords, adding them into the pieces, adding them with your progression, and then when you're ready to start on exam 3, they'll be put into use with English Folk Song, which will be the video that is posted after this. Have fun.